Hello everybody, welcome to Sportsology. Today I'm going to be talking about whether the NBA can successfully finish the season in the midst of coronavirus pandemic. So during the last 2019 and 20 season, the NBA was able to have a successful season, well thanks to the Orlando bubble, and they did a terrific job with it. And now this situation is a little bit different in that the teams actually are going to play in their cities. So one notable thing is the Raptors actually, because they weren't allowed to play in Canada at this time. They are playing in Tampa Bay this year, and something important is that this means that the players will be traveling, moving to different cities and going to play, which is very vastly different from staying in the Orlando bubble and just staying there and playing basketball. So it's important to see NFL, if a certain team had a lot of positive cases, then those games were delayed for future date. You generally have one game per week, whereas in the NBA you have 2 or 3 games a week. So if there is that delay for the NBA, it's more detrimental because the team could be missing potentially 2 or 3 games that have to be rescheduled. So this is the reason why the NBA has scheduled the first half of the season, and then they're going to be determining the second half of the season. Basically, the main idea is that if there are any delays or games that have been postponed, they can adjust that into the schedule in the second half of the season. And perhaps if like later in the season, if the games don't have as much meaning, perhaps can be omitted. It's something that the NBA can look at. So as we know, contrary to baseball or NFL, I would say NFL does involve close contact amongst the players, but NBA especially, if you compare it to baseball, there's a lot more contact between the players. So it's really imperative that the testing happens, I would say, on the game day for NBA players, because the danger with coronavirus is that even people that are not showing any symptoms could spread it. And as we know with basketball, people are very close to each other, so there's a really high risk of transmission. So I would say that it would be very imperative that, ideally testing every day would be the ideal, but it would be tough on the players to get it tested every single day. So I don't know how realistic that would be, but at the very least on the day of the games, that the players are tested and make sure they're negative before being on the floor. And what I forecast is that for the playoffs, I can actually foresee the bubble forming again. Main reason being, for instance, if a star player has a coronavirus virus, does that mean that that player has to sit out for that important playoff game? What if it's like a really important player, perhaps like an MVP caliber player that is positive for that day and can't play? That really affects the quality of the game. So I can see actually a scenario in which when it gets to the playoff season, now if the vaccine is prevalent and if it's shown to be very effective, then obviously I think that would help with the situation. But I can see a scenario in which when it does get to playoffs, and if the coronavirus situation is continuing to get worse, I can see a scenario, at least for the playoffs, there's some form of a bubble. It can be similar to what the NHL did, 2 host cities, and then doing a bubble like that. I would say the NBA would continue to monitor the situation, but I can certainly see for the playoffs at least that happening. So, to answer the question, I would say that NBA can certainly have a successful season. Obviously, they have great healthcare specialists and doctors that I'm sure they're contacting, and those people are, I'm sure, helping out the NBA. But as I said, for the playoffs, I can honestly see a bubble forming. So we'll see how everything goes, and the NBA season starts December 22nd. I'm really excited about it. All right, you guys take care, stay safe and healthy. Have a nice day.